Hey guys, this is the GPSFX Telegram channel where I share my analysis every single day before both New York and London sessions. So this is the analysis for Euro USD I shared for today. Let's take a look at this. And as you can see, I made a bold prediction that the market will come down and mitigate this demand zone right here. So first, let's take a look at how this played out. It played out pretty good, as you can see. And eventually the market gave us a tremendous movement towards the downside. Okay, so the only question is, how was I able to make this prediction before anything happened in the market? So that's the whole point of this video. I'll be teaching it to you guys. You can use this for any pair or any markets. So let's get to the charts. Okay, so this is the day everything happened. If you look to the right side, the market is still live and running. So my prediction was pretty much perfect. The supply zone that I marked, clean mitigation, and the demand zone that I marked, once again a clean mitigation, right? Okay, so how was I able to predict this in the first place before everything right here happened, right? So let's use the replay button, and I will delete all these things so that you can understand this better. Okay guys, so the first thing you should do, doesn't matter wherever you are in the market, is completely first of all zoom out, right? Okay, first zoom out like this, only then you will know the whole picture on what's happening in the market. This is what I call the primary structure, and the reason is very simple. If you look at this size of the structure, the size of this whole structure, when you compare the size of other structures, you can clearly see that this is tremendously big, right? So I will easily conclude without any second thoughts that the market is in uptrend, at least in 15 minutes time frame. You can choose any time frame that you want, okay? So in 15-minute time frame, the primary structure is in uptrend. So the long time plan for Euro USD for me is uptrend, right? So obviously you can draw all those trend lines and all those things if you are a trend line trader, if you are a support and resistance trader. But if you are an SMC trader, none of those things are necessary. Okay, so now we know the long-term plan of Euro USD. Let's find out the short-term plan. Okay, so if you see here, this is what we call as minor structure, right? So also the reason should be very self-explanatory. These structures are very tiny when we compare this to the primary structure, right? Okay, so we call these things minor structure. So what happened right here? The market just gave us small correction movements to the downside, and then the market gave us a breakout structure, right? So this structure, when you compare this structure to this structure, the answer should be pretty much self-explanatory, right? This will be called as the primary structure, the strong structure. This will be called as the minor structure. Okay, right? Okay, so now we know that both primary and minor is in uptrend. So there is one more structure pending, right? So we should find that. The name of the structure is fractal structure, okay? So that's one of the weak forms of structure. It's very tiny when compared to these two structures. But if you are going to trade counter trend, like I said, both the primary and minor are in uptrend, right? So if you're going to trade counter trend, like I predicted, you should also find the trend of the fractal structure, okay? All right. So let's fast forward this a little bit. So if you see here, if you look at this closely, an inside candle formed right here. Okay, so the market pulled up. Okay, I'll use the highlighter. The market pulled up right here. It kept an inside candle, and then the market took this high. If you see, the market took this high, and then once again the market came down and took this inside candle. So that means this is a fractal movement, a fractal change of character. You can consider this as a ChoCh. You can consider this as a fractal BOS. All these names are up to you. I will just consider that the market is showing signs that it wants to come down. Okay, so this is the first sign for me. So let's wait and see what happens. Okay, there are too many sweeps, right? There are too many sweeps to the upside, which means there is pretty much no liquidity present in the market. And because the session, we are not in London or New York session, we are in the dead zones of the market, so there is no liquidity. Okay, let's fast forward this. Okay, still the market is pretty much ranging. Okay, beautiful. Now we get a fractal breakout structure to the upside. I'll mark this as a fractal BOS. The line is very thin, right? So this is nothing but a fractal breakout structure. Okay, so now I know that this entire structure right here is a fractal structure. And what is the trend of the structure? The fractal structure is uptrend, right? So now we know that both primary minor structure was also an uptrend. Now the fractal structure is also in uptrend. So if I'm going to take downtrend in this condition, pretty much that's suicide, right? You'll get multiple stop losses. You won't know what's happening in the market. So this is how you should decode what's happening big in the market. Okay. So now I know that this low, this present low of the structure is a fractal BOS. A fractal BOS to the downside, right? Because this is fractal BOS to the upside. So that means this is the fractal BOS to the downside. So at least bare minimum, I want this to be taken out by the market so that I can take downtrend entries, right? So other than that, I won't take any downtrend entries. So let's see what happens in the market. Okay. So still we are in pretty much dead zones of the market. Still we haven't entered New York or London session. All right. So now we got a beautiful fractal break of structure. Break of structure in the sense we get a candle close to the downside, right? If you didn't get a candle close, that's not a break of structure. All right. Okay. So now we know that the market wants to go down, at least in our fractal structure. So can you look for entries right here? The answer is yes. Obviously, you can look for entries right here, but this is the time where you should note your trading periods. Is this London session? Is this New York session? The answer is absolutely no. Still, we are in pretty much Asian session, so I won't be taking any entries in this structure. So let's see what happens. Okay, so the market took this high. So this is not a BOS, right? Still, the fractal structure is in downtrend. Still, the fractal structure is in downtrend. This is not a breakout structure. This is a liquidity sweep. The market is collecting liquidity in order to go down. So I will mark this as a liquidity sweep. Okay, so now let's wait and see what happens. Now at least I want this to be broken. I want a clean breakout structure to the upside. I want a clean breakout structure to the downside. So I'm waiting for these two things. I won't be taking any entries within this structure. That's pretty much suicide, right? Already we are in fractal structure, which is very volatile. If you're trading like a sweep, that's pretty much complete suicide. Don't do this. So let's wait and see what happens. Okay, still we didn't get a breakout structure. So here I want to explain to you guys a very important thing. If you look at this, many SMC traders, they take this as a breakout structure, right? They just extend this line. And they place this as a breakout structure. How is this a breakout structure? I don't understand. You can't take this as a breakout structure. Okay, on very rare occasions this is fine, but we already got a sweep right here, right? So you cannot just extend this line, and when the candle closes right here, you can't take this as a break of structure. This is you can trade these structures, but the results can be very volatile, right? You can't have solid data. So how you should take this? You should start marking from this point. Instead of marking from this point, you should mark from this point. And if you see the market did not give us a candle close, once again the market gave us only a liquidity sweep. Okay, so let's mark both of these sweeps as liquidity sweep. So we see still, hope you didn't forget that the market, the fractal structure is still in a downtrend, right? This is the last valid breakout structure we got in the market. A liquidity sweep, another liquidity sweep. So still the market is in downtrend. It should break this, it should break this. If not, I won't be taking any entries in the structure. So let's see what happens. All right. Okay, beautiful. So this is what we should call as a breakout structure, a clean break to the downside. So if you haven't forgotten that, I pointed out that this is a primary structure. This big ass structure is primary structure. This small structure can be taken as a minor structure, right? And this is where we are dealing with, and this can be called as fractal structure, right? Okay. Like I said, guys, whatever I'm saying, these market structure names, I created this completely by myself, okay? So if you want to keep different names, feel free to do it. Okay. Now, the fractal structure is in downtrend. But the minor structure, if you see here, this is the minor structure. This is still in uptrend, right? So the market can come down, mitigate any OB present here, and then the market can go up and continue the minor trend, which is uptrend, right? So first let's mark order blocks in this minor structure. Okay. So what are all the order blocks you can clearly see in this minor structure? I see only two. This one right here, a clean, a perfect visible order block right here. And the next order block is right here. Let me mark both of these things. Okay. Let me extend this. Okay. Fine. So this is the minor structure. Let me just highlight this a little bit. Okay, so this is the minor structure and this is an uptrend. Okay, hope you guys understand this. I'm kind of explaining like I'm explaining it to a child. So guys, it's very clear. This OB was mitigated right here, right? This OB was already mitigated and the market went up, used the fuel present in this order block to break this high. Actually, it was not able to break this high. It was just able to sweep this high, right? So the fuel present in this order block was used to sweep this high. So which means this order block is very, very weak. We cannot expect this order block to hold the market. So I'll be expecting this order block to be broken, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. So the second thing is obviously Fibonacci. I only use the 0.5 zone. Let me mark this. So I will expect that the market should at least come down to the Fibonacci level, right? Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, so the market goes up. What are the valid order blocks you can find right here? Obviously, you can take this one as a valid order block. This is completely fine, okay? But if you see here, the market did not give us any other order blocks. You can take this one as a valid order block, but I don't usually take that as a valid order block, right? So that's the reason I placed my limit entry right here. But the market unfortunately did not tag me in the trade. The market just kept on coming down. The market just took this whole range as an order block. But guys, this is completely fine. This happens every single time in the market. So that's the reason you should trade multiple accounts, right? So I will use this movement for scalping and I will wait till the market mitigates this entry. That's the limit entry. So let's see what happens. Okay. So obviously the market mitigates this order block. The market just keeps on coming down, a beautiful mitigation right here. Once the market mitigated this point, it just completely disrespected every movement right here. It started moving upside, right? So which means if you haven't forgotten, the minor trend, which is uptrend, is continuing from this point onwards, right? So now my expectation is this high should be broken because the minor trend should continue its uptrend. So let's see what happens. And obviously we get a minor breakout structure. Okay, let's mark this. And also this entry is no longer valid, right? So once the market just moves right here, I'll just close this entry. I won't be taking any more entries right here. I know that the market will go up and break this high once the market clearly mitigated this order block right here. So guys, this is how you should trade the markets. So I hope you understood how important market structure is, right? Of course, liquidity is important, order block is important, but without market structure, you won't know what to do, right? So first, be clear in market structure. That's the first thing you should do. And the second thing is only mark clear order blocks that haven't been mitigated by the market. Okay, so this RB was not mitigated, so that's the reason I marked this, and the same goes for this. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, you obviously can leave them in the comments. I will read your comments and reply and make another video about them. See you guys in the next video.